fighting is basically a combat sport that uses wasters or foam swords to simulate actual sword-on-sword combat. A lot of it pretty much revolves around a touch and a point system, not unlike modern fencing or point karate. The main difference being that it revolves around a simulation of medieval swordplay. I was bored and I was looking for some sort of physical thing to do around Austin. And I actually got on meetups.com and I saw an ad for a Boffer Fighting weekly event in a guy's backyard, and I decided it sounded pretty fun. And I've done the SCA before, so I've worn full armor. I've worn real armor before and used rattan swords, but this was something different and it turned out pretty well. LARP and Boffer Fighting seem to be pretty popular in Austin, probably because this is kind of an eclectic area, and also because there are so many people involved in the IT field. But while it's popular, it's very fractured, and there are about 1 million different groups that all do it separately. So while a lot of people do similar games, you can still feel fairly isolated doing it with a small group. Boffer is not dangerous. Even with a full arm swing with a decent approved Boffer weapon, there's really not much that can be done to another person except maybe a welt or a bruise, unlike other full contact fighting sports. So I would say that Boffer Fighting is fairly idiot proof. Then again, whenever they make anything idiot proof, they'll go ahead and make a better idiot. There's a lot of physical contact in Boffer Fighting. Yes, there is, but most of the blows are pulled. In fact, a more experienced person is actually going to hit you lighter than a less experienced person, and a lot of that is just the skill over the Boffer weapon itself. There are many benefits on participating in Boffer sports. I personally haven't done LARP, so I can't attest to any benefits there. But I can say that with Boffer Fighting, it's a great workout. It's somewhat like boxing. I always feel like I just boxed a few rounds. Another thing is that it builds camaraderie. You can make new friends that you would have never met before. And it actually builds eye-hand coordination. And heck, if the end of the world comes and the zombies are running rampant and everybody's out of bullets, you'll have a hand up on everybody else. Just about any weapon that can be made of foam is used in Boffer Fighting. There's a lot of creativity among people who make their own weapons. And there are companies out there who specialize in making foam Boffer weapons that make some really cool stuff too. But honestly, the most common weapons are what's called an omnidirectional sword, which is basically just a round pool noodle on some sort of core. Then there's latex swords and hammers as well, and those are pretty much the most common weapons used. Some systems and some practices allow the use of Nerf swords. I personally wouldn't. I've bought them before and played with them, and they're really not very safe. They're made for children who don't have an adult's arm strength, and in the hand of an adult, especially an adult male, a Nerf sword would really hurt somebody. Boffer Fighting seems pretty dorky at first, and I'm not going to lie, it's pretty dorky even when you start doing it for a while. But it's really a lot of fun. There aren't very many workouts I've gone to out there that are both as fun as Boffer Fighting and as safe as Boffer Fighting. For instance, if you box or you do airsoft, you're still going to run a risk of getting injured, and Boffer Fighting is pretty much just whacking somebody with some foam. So, you know, there are a lot. It's a new kind of sport. It's gaining relevance. It's gaining popularity, and I think everybody should give it a shot.
The big bad wolf used to fight you, and now he's your